Welcome to Gold Derby. I'm senior editor Denton Davidson here with the artists formerly known as Beets on The Masked Singer, Ruben Studdard and Clay Aiken. Can I start by saying my mom's gonna freak out because we watched you guys together. I mean, I'm about your age, but I was in college when this whole American Idol thing was happening.
Hmm.
So, Ruben, talk about coming back to a singing competition. What did memories start flooding back when you see a judges panel and cameras like that?
Not really. I mean, well,
But you couldn't
listen,
see the judges panel with
you
that
couldn't see
mask
the
on.
judge. Those are facts. I mean, but listen, I wasn't competing for my life like I was on American Idol. That's the thing that the stakes were much higher for me on American Idol than they ever will be on The Masked Singer. Like we were, even though I wanted to win, but it's completely different. I mean,
Masked Singer pays so much better than Idol did.
oh my God, what do you say? Is it?
So, I mean, Ruben, you're known as the Velvet Teddy Bear, so calm and cool all the time. So I'm gonna come to Clay with this question because I know Clay's gonna let me have it. Clay, how mad were you when you got kicked off?
You picked the wrong one to ask. Ruben's the competitive one. I am not competitive at all. I have gotten so good at losing shows that if I had won, I'd probably be more upset because it would ruin my reputation. So no, I wasn't upset in the slightest. Neither one of us were upset. I think Ruben really is a competitive guy, so he likes to win checkers. He doesn't care. I mean, frankly, if I'm being honest, we were on tour together all year last year. We were on tour before the show started, before we got called, and then we had to go back to it afterwards, almost days after we ended up getting cut. So I was secretly sort of hopeful that maybe we'd get cut because I wanted at least a day off before we had to go to Alaska, and we did get it. So that was nice.
Well, you sing One Moment in Time. I mean, no one
Mhm.
can pull off a Whitney Houston Olympic anthem like that, and you guys nailed it. So, how did you guys go about choosing that song, and how much fun was it to get back there and kind of pull these different songs out of the hat and work your harmonies together?
Well, we didn't really choose that song. That song chose us. And so,
Nope.
did we chose that?
I've got to correct you on that one. We didn't choose the ones before it, but we did choose
Okay.
that one. And because we remember we talked about wanting to make sure that we sang something that was so big and so ridiculously
Facts.
powerful that
Facts.
they could never cut us.
Right. Facts.
But we specifically chose that because we wanted exactly what you said. We wanted a song that was near impossible to sing because we wanted to show them we could do it.
And how did you, Ruben, react to the actual Beats costume? Because this is not a costume I would have imagined. I would have never thought about it. So when you walk in there and they're like, "You guys are going to be some root vegetables," what did you think?
I was actually shocked at first because I thought that it would be something like, I don't know. I don't know what I thought. I have no idea like what my mind was set on when I came in the room for costumes. I thought, I don't know. But it was cool though, because I think that was, if I would have been anything else, I think it probably would have given them more information to figure out who we were. Like,
There were a lot of elaborate costumes on Masked Singer, and so each of us had sort of maybe imagined. We specifically didn't get involved in selecting it because we never would have agreed. So they got to choose. We let them choose it, but the the simplicity of the beats, I think, is sort of what made them adorable. I mean, they were cute.
Were you shocked? I was blown away that they never picked,
bless you.
that they never figured out who you were. Because I knew immediately. Maybe it's because I watched you guys, but like for so many years. But they picked Boys to Men, Casey and JoJo, Dan and Shay. Uh, Jenny even picked Jesse Tyler Ferguson and Eric Stone Street. I don't know what if they can sing like that, but were you surprised that they couldn't figure out your identity at all?
A little bit, just because, especially now that in my mind, I was singing different than I sound in the costume. Like in my mind, there, I was like, oh, I sound so much different. But when I watched it yesterday, I was like, oh, of course they picked. Of course they. I mean, of course they should know who we are. You know what I mean? But they did not. And
For
that
a second,
was
I thought, do they think we're dead? It was, but like what? But then the reason I didn't feel bad, and I don't think is that they were very specifically, most of the time, Eric Stonestreet and Jesse Tyler Ferguson, not quite, but Casey and JoJo, Dan Shay, Brooks and Dunn, Boyz II Men, they were specifically honing in on groups that were already established as duos. And so I think, yeah, Ruben and Clay, you recognize the names together, but we are not known as a duo. And I think that totally threw them off. And they were constantly trying to find established groups.
Can you believe it's been 20 years since American Idol? I mean, you two both shot to superstardom like a rocket. That doesn't happen anymore. I mean, people sometimes don't remember who was on 2 years ago now, but it's been 20 years. That show at that moment was so big. You two, Kelly, Fantasia, Carrie, like all these people are still so recognizable. What do you think has changed in the music industry that makes it harder? Is it social media? Is it just a saturation of shows like this? And what has kept you two going strong all these years?
in the music industry that has changed is just the fact that people don't really have the physical connection to their music, the musicians that they like. Everything is, digital. You know what I mean? And I think in the first couple of seasons of American Idol, these people had tangible things to hold on to with those contestants. If you were a Kelly Clarkson fan, you had a Kelly Clarkson record, a T-shirt. If we were a Ruben fan, you had a 205 shirt. If you were a Clay fan, you were a Claymate. If like these things were like full on groups, gangs, so to speak, teams. You know what I mean? And now, I think with the invention of with streaming, I think that it kind of takes away a bit from the how dedicated the fanship is outside of the show. But as far as the viewership, American Idol still has
Oh
the
yeah.
they still have the power to bring people because they know how to make a great television show out of young people having a desire to get into the industry at whatever point they can. Like, because we benefited from being on the show when the record music industry was at a height, and then subsequently, while the shows kept going on, things shifted in the music industry. Like people enjoy having this in their hand and listening to a whole album as opposed to having to go to Sam Goody and stand in line and get your product.
Ooh, you
So,
are old, Mr. Studdard.
hey,
Sam Goody, he busted out.
turtles.
I want to. All right, I want to add. I want to add to that, and then give one other reason that'll get me in trouble. Well, Ruben's right. The music industry was big, but also something that I think gets lost or people don't even recognize or realize is that in the first 5 or so seasons of Idol, the show was still owned by and run by 19 Entertainment, which was also the record label that the artists got signed to after the show, was after they got off the show. Mm-hmm. Around season 6 or so, 19 sold them. 19 was sold and sold the rights to some other company and whatnot. But so in those first seasons when we were on, the executive producer of the TV show was also the head of the record label that would sign us. Simon Fuller created Idol initially because he had managed the Spice Girls, and the Spice Girls had decided to stop singing, and he needed new acts. And so he created a pop Idol in the UK to find new acts to sign. And Idol was no different. He was signing. So each contestant on seasons 1, 2, 3, 4 were not just contestants on the show. They were future clients of the executive producer of the show. They were future recording artists for the record label of the executive producer of the show. So there was a vested interest in everyone who ran the show to create career artists, to create people and to put us on TV in a way that would, and present us in a way that we would have longer careers. Now, later, and I'm not blaming or excusing, anybody of doing things differently, but after 19 sold it and wasn't owning the rights to the show anymore. You know, TV networks, they have an interest in having high ratings, right? So it's very important to them that those overnights come in and the numbers are high. And that doesn't necessarily have anything to do with the contestants. They don't necessarily care if their record sells well. It was very important to the guy running American Idol that Ruben's and my albums sold well and that we could do multiple albums afterwards. Whereas in later years, you know, when Fox was running it on its own, or another producer or ABC or whatever, they want great TV. And like Ruben said, they make great TV, but that just has to happen in that night. And I think that's had a big effect on why there's longevity with some of the earlier folks. Also, we're just a fragmented country now. I mean, Idol's ratings are very good, very good. Masked Singers are very good, but you know what? The number one show in America right now is what, like 5 million viewers at a time. There were 40 million viewers. The 40 million viewers on our finale, and it got a 30 share. 30% of America doing the same thing at one time. Are you out of your mind? We would
right.
People would kill for that right now. It doesn't happen. And so, you know, people remember Kelly and Ruben and Fantasia and Carrie because they were, I've said it many times, we were lucky not only to be on the show we were on, but to do it in the time we were in it, because we got in there right before Netflix and Facebook and all the social media and the streamers started fragmenting us so much that there was nothing water coolery anymore. And we were, those first few seasons were the only water cooler moments where everybody got together and watched.
And you're still at it. Ruben, you have a new album called
Yes.
the Way I Remember It, and your single
Yes.
Masterpiece has been doing very well. You have another one coming out, I think, tomorrow. So tell
Yeah.
us about it.
New single called Shaking My Head. It's just, listen, we've been doing this a very long time. And, you know, it's often kind of hard now that it's been 20 years to get excited about material, but these songs are, you know, are a reflection of how I feel about my wife and the relationship that we have. And so getting the opportunity to, you know, sing songs that really mean more to you than just music is, you know, it's refreshing. And so I'm excited about the new song that's coming out, excited about the album, and I hope people will stream it, download it, whatever they do with music now, you know, do whatever it is you do. Just, you know, tell everybody to go do the same.
No,
Don't you love it when there's an interviewer who's prepared and like knows what's going on, Ruben?
Absolutely.
The single was coming out. Now me, Denton, what am I doing next?
What are you doing next?
You don't know? I'm very insulted.
Well, you guys were just on tour together.
Okay.
I couldn't make it to the tour. I wanted to go when you were in LA. I couldn't get there. So what's next on you? Are you gonna tour together again ever, or is it just Ruben on his Luther tour? What's going on?
I will be seeing Ruben on his Luther tour, and I will be seeing Ruben promoting this album. I have only performed publicly with Ruben since 2014. I stepped away. I love performing with him. We did our Broadway show. We did this tour. We did Masked Singer. We sang on Idol last year. And we will do something together again. But I'm gonna go download that single tomorrow.
Really fast question for each of you, just because I'm curious. Who for each of you is a dream artist that you have never performed with or collaborated with that you each still would love to? Ruben, who's your dream collaboration that you haven't had the opportunity?
Fantasia.
Oh,
you sang with her on the Christmas show on Idol, the Idol Christmas show.
No,
you both.
I'm recording.
Record. I was about to say you sang "Don't Save It All for Christmas Day" on that Christmas show.
Yeah, that doesn't count, and she was still on the show too.
I was about to say, isn't it crazy that I can remember things? Everything that happened before 2006, I can remember in vivid detail. But anything after 2006, I don't remember what I ate for dinner yesterday.
How great was she in Color Purple, by the way, Ruben?
Oh my God.
Yeah, she was fantastic.
All right. Clay, do you have anyone? And then I have to go. I'm getting kicked out here.
I don't know, because I haven't thought about recording in a long time. I grew up loving Martina McBride and Trisha Yearwood, those types of old country female vocalists who had kind of crossover, powerful, belty vocals. So I'll go with Martina McBride or Trisha Yearwood or somebody like that.
All right. I love those choices. Ruben and Clay, so much fun to see you on The Masked Singer. Thanks for sitting down with Gold Derby today.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
sir.